Hello, my friends. Welcome to Josey's Art School, episode number 201. Yes, that's right. We finally crossed the threshold of 200 videos here over on YouTube, and I'm so happy that you're here. If you have subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for supporting me and getting me here. And if you haven't, I'm so glad you're here, and I hope that you would consider subscribing and ringing the notification bell so that you get my 2 videos every week. I try to mix it up and do all different types of styles of painting. I offer art kits that you can buy in my Etsy shop, but you don't actually need to buy them. I will create them here on my channel, and you can use whatever materials you have on hand. Today I'm working on a 9 by 12 piece of paper, and normally I will have an example of some sort sitting here, but today I decided to do it freehand right along with you guys and really be in the moment of when things start to change and you start to think, oh, I don't know if it's going well. So I thought that'd be nice to challenge me as you are sitting there being challenged as well. So I am so glad you're here on the journey with me. So we are going to do a painting inspired by Henri Matisse. Here is what the painting looks like. It's basically a bowl of fruit, but it is sitting on a pedestal. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick brush of paint on the background just to kind of get the color there. And I really love the use of teal. So I'm going to do something similar to teal. It's called Laguna, and it's by Apple Barrel. If you have not tried the Apple Barrel paints, boy, I would encourage you to use them. They are actually really good paints. And I know you can go and you can see all different types of paint choices at your local craft store, but this really does work in a pinch, and it's very satisfying to use. So I'm going to be using this today, and what I'm going to use is a sponge brush, and I'm going to just brush it along my paper just to get the color on the page. And can you see already how amazing that color is, right? So I'm not being too particular about getting it filled in completely. What I like to do is just to get some color on the page, because I don't know if you're like me, but I definitely have that anxiety sometimes when I face a blank piece of paper. And so any kind of color on the page helps me feel like I can begin. Yes, and so this is what I'm doing. I put a little bit of water in there, and there was still a little bit of black in the sponge brush from another video that I created. So I actually like the two blending together like this. I might have to use some pins here because it's going to make it curl a little bit. But as you can see, what I like about washes is it just gets the color on the page super quickly, and then it allows for me to go ahead and get started. Bear with me. Of course, I'm looking for a pin and I cannot find it. All right, so from here, you can decide what colors you want to use. I'm going to try to stay in the primary color area. So I'm going to use, let me show you the example again. I'm going to use the yellows, the reds. We might do a little color blending to get that green. And then from there, I'm just going to build everything out that you see in that painting. So this is actually one of my favorite things to do, and this is actually how I got started creating art for kids, is I am self-taught. I didn't have art in school. And so how I learned to blend colors and things like that is I would take a painting that I saw and I would see, and I would try to replicate the painting. And you know, the rest is history. Here we are close to 15 years later, and I still enjoy doing it. And I do create my own work, but I do still love going back to my basics here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first create that circle where the fruit is going to sit. I guess, you know, I almost would look at it like it's a bowl sitting on top of a pedestal. So I've got the bowl setting there, but then of course, as you saw, there was a parallel circle going around there, and I'll show you the drawing again. So that's kind of what I'm working with here. Here is kind of a weird ladder. I'm going to add it in there because I just love how it looks. But here we are. We've got the circles there. So now I'm going to add the pieces of fruit in the middle, and of course you're going to have some overlap there, but I'm just going to add my main circles in first and then come back in and add more fruit. So I'm not going to get too perfect with it, right? I want some oversized fruit. It doesn't have to necessarily be all circular, right? So there I have it in there. And I'm going to, at this point, because I want to make sure you can see it on your screen, I'm going to start to add a little bit of color. So let me show you the colors that I'm working with. I am working with a King's Gold. I'm working with a bright red. Red, yellow, yeah, red, yellow. I need a blue, don't I? I don't think I have a true blue here. Uh-oh, your girl is going to have to wing it. I might have to go a different route here. I'm trying to see. Oh, I see. My blue's just over there off screen. Isn't that the way? All right, so I would say if you're new to color blending, that you kind of want to get your truest reds, your truest yellows, your truest blues. Because I am working with this one called King's Gold, I'm not really sure what that's going to show up like. So we'll give it a shot. If all else fails, I have other supplies sitting here around me. I have some oil pastels, so we might experiment with that a little bit and see what it will look like on top of this teal. But I'm telling you already, I'm very satisfied with how it looks. So now the other thing I want you to think about is because they're supposed to be like apples or oranges, you probably want to add a little bit of detail in it. So, for example, just adding like a little, maybe what I call, it looks like a smile, but then add a stem coming out so that you have a more realistic looking piece of fruit. So you can intermittently put that onto your fruit as well. So from here, I'm going to start to add this goldish yellow color. And I am super pleased with how that looks. So I'm not getting too fancy with how it has to be perfectly painted. I'm letting some of the teal show through because I actually feel like it gives it more of an antique look. And I'm not sad about that. Matisse is actually one of my favorite artists. I first fell in love with some of his paintings that have to have flowers as their theme. But the one that I've used quite often with students in the art classes that I teach is his one entitled Fishbowl. And they really love that because it really is this example to them how you can take an ordinary thing, such as, you know, a fishbowl, which many of them have in their homes, and it becomes a masterpiece. And it isn't really about the subject matter at all, is it? So it's nice to give them that introduction to art in a way that lets them know that, hey, this might be something that you want to pursue as well. And if nothing else, it's something that would be a great hobby to have. And also, you know, it doesn't hurt to have it as a stress reliever as well. All right, so I'm adding in now some of the red. And I think what I might do is I might do a blend of the red and the yellow, you know, to make kind of an orange color, since I was lax in getting that blue over here so that I can use it. So you feel free to do what you'd like in your fruit bowl. You could always add, oh, I like that color. You could always add grapes to it if you want, or pears. You know, again, this is your creation. So you can do what you like here. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit more orange. And again, I'm going to, once this dries, because it'll dry fairly quickly, I'm going to add some more details to make the fruit come to life. And do a little bit of blending. some of the yellow and the red stay separated. Okay. So again, let me give you a peek at the original. So how's that coming together for you so far? So as you can see, there's the fruit right there. You can then go around the edge and create a yellow blend here. I think I'm going to come back to that oil pastel and perhaps add a little color in here to really highlight the basin that the fruit is sitting in. And you can do this as well. So you don't have to necessarily stick with just using paint. You can feel free to add your oil pastels in here, add your crayons, maybe even markers or colored pencils. So I'm actually going to take my oil pastel and I'm going to go around the edges of the fruit. And I'm going to let that fruit dry a little longer before I add some more details to the fruit. Okay? All right, so from here, I'm going to go ahead and start to add the pedestal, right? So I'm going to take my dark oil pastel crayon. And so it's basically, I'm going to have to go around there again because I can't find my brown one. I'm going to take a rectangle shape here, and then I'm going to add the legs. So just some scooped lines on both sides. I'm going to need to go back around here just so it makes sense that these go together. Okay. And then I can come back in, and again, it's so subtle, right? But it's the same colors you're seeing in here kind of blend down into that pedestal. So I'm going to take my colors again, and I'm going to start to add them in here. Now, first, because I used probably the wrong color of my oil pastels, I'm pretty sure I'll get my eyes on the one I used originally again, because I actually love that one. But I'm just coming in. Again, I'm not being too terribly fancy with it. I'm just kind of letting the paintbrush pick up different colors. I'll probably come in and add some details with a black oil pastel to give it more of the textured look. Again, finding that way to not make it so matchy to the top, but also it reads to your eye that it is similar color palette, right? So from here, I'm going to add in the shadowing underneath, but also add in what looks to me like some sort of ladder, or I don't know, what would you say that is? Please leave a note in the comments of what you assess that to be. All right, I'm going to try to see if I can, let's try this one. All right, so I'm going to come back through because that blue, it was not a good choice. So I'm going to come back with my brown oil pastel. So, because I literally was like, what did you just do? Was so in love with that antique look, and then that blue really threw it off. So that's definitely one of those things where you can go, oh, that's not going to matter. That's blue, isn't it? It's like, no, that's not the same tone that you're going for here. All right, that's much better. I'm actually going to come in now and start to add a little more detail to the fruit. So feel free to do that if your paint is dry enough to do that. All right, I feel like we're on the right track again. So I'm also going to come in, and you can see from here, there's just some subtle lines playing through the pedestal, right? Let's see if I can find it. See that a little better. It's curling a little bit. Okay, so let's look here. There's the ladder. So you can choose which side it makes sense for that ladder to be. I think for me, it makes sense to be on this side. But I probably need to add a little more paint in there. But we'll see. Maybe it will look fine without it. So there's where I'm sitting it. And then, again, not being too particular about where exactly it should go, because it's kind of playing very subtly in the background. All right, I'm back in love with it. I definitely needed that blue to go away. All right, so then I've got this sitting here, and now I want to bring back the fruit a little bit more. So I'm going to come back around with my brown oil pastel. And you can do this with a brown crayon, or, you know, you could do it even with a Sharpie or a black ink pen. I love actually outlining things with black pen. It's kind of like a secret weapon. Here's another idea. I don't know if I have this here to show you, but also, you know, those whiteout pens that you get? Oh, those are another gold mine to kind of go through and just add a little touch of white. Let me give you an example of it, maybe with some white paint that I have left over. So sometimes it's just a matter, I don't want any pink in it, but just to take a little bit of white paint, and you don't have to, again, it doesn't have to be too much, but just going in your painting and just in little spaces, just kind of adding just a little something, just to bring a little more light to what you're doing. And again, you got to be careful, because what happens is we then want to place it on there, and that kind of ruins the whole point of what it's supposed to be. It's just supposed to be very, very subtle. I would also encourage you to like take the painting and turn it upside down and do it. That way you're not like trying to decide where to put the white paint. But again, so this is our finished product here. I hope that you enjoyed this painting in the likeness of Henri Matisse. So here is what we started with, and here's what we finished. And again, I forgot to mention this. You could also put that shadowing down there. So let me take that brown oil pastel and put a little bit of shadow here and see if that changes the mood of what we have going on here. And if it makes a difference to do this in oil pastel, or if I should have come back and just done paint. We'll see. Sometimes I let it dry and I go back and I go, ugh, you should have done that. Take it out. But hey, you've got to try, right? So here we go. Here's what it looks like. All right, my friends. Well, please make sure and tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you created. Like, subscribe, share my channel, and please come support me over on Patreon. I'd love to have you as one of my patrons. You supporting me really means the world to me. Thank you so much for stopping by. Bye.